Hi! Welcome back to the third episode of Supersonic Self-Love. Thank you so much for all your great feedback so far on the first two episodes. I loved seeing what you were working on for your daily magical routines, whether it was in the morning or at night. And if you haven't started, remember it is never too late to start. 5 minutes or less a day. It's all it takes. And speaking of which, I wanted to share that since it's September 1st and August was the first month of me using micro movements, it was a huge success. I totaled up how many minutes, because I've been keeping a log, I spent using micro movements on my goals, and it turned out to be exactly 15 hours, 0 minutes to the T. So cool. That's magic and amazing. And that's 15 hours I would not have spent on my goals had I not started using this technique. It's amazing. If you're not a believer yet, just wait to see what I do in September. Stay tuned and check out those videos for micro movements and then episodes 1 and 2 of Supersonic Self-Love. So last week I told you that I could only think of a few ways better to build a strong foundation for our self-love journey together than to start a magical daily routine. And there are a few more ways, and I'm going to talk about them today. So, a couple of them anyway. So, the Vortex and gratitude are extremely important parts of self-love and personal growth. Before we get started, I want to show you the affirmation card that I pulled for this week. And I drew it from one of Mike Dooley's decks. Mike Dooley is the author of Notes from the Universe, which is a free subscription email service that you can get. It's really beautiful. This deck is called Notes from the Universe on Love and Connection. And the card that I pulled, it's a beautiful deck, and it even has extra stuff on the back. But look at this card. It's wonderful. And it says, things are about to get really juicy. And you know what? They are. Today we are going to talk about how to feel really, really good. And what is juicier than that? All right, so let's get started. You know what? I'm going to pull this book off because I'm going to talk about it, so I might as well just pull it off. Good things are organized by color. The vortex is a term coined by Abraham Hicks. If you are not familiar with Abraham Hicks, I recommend. I have this waterlogged book. It's like one of those wavy things from being read in the bathtub that was given to me at a much younger age by my mother. And I also have this much more intense version on the law of attraction. They both are talking about the vortex, and there's also a separate book on the vortex. And the vortex is becoming a much more well-known term in the world of self-development, especially online. And I must tell you that when I first heard this term back when I got these books, and again, it sounded like when it resurfaced, it sounded too woo for me. When I first heard it with my mom, I had my own issues with her, and that was the whole thing. But, even when it resurfaced, I still felt like it was a little too out there or something. I don't know. It just, didn't feel like the right thing. I was just I don't know. I feel like we could do something else different. But I was open to coming around to it, which I have since, and it still took me a while. So I'm telling you this because if it feels that way for you, that's totally okay. The important thing is that the vortex means something. And once you figure that out and get inside of what that is, you can call it whatever you want. You don't need to call something a thing for it to have power or for it to work and have results. Making up your own term for it might even give it more power, so who knows? Okay, so what is the vortex? The vortex is a place where we go in our minds and feel in our bodies, and we are in total alignment. That is key. With ourselves and with the universe. And Abraham Hicks calls this source. You might call it God. You might call it the cosmos. You might call it whatever. I call it the universe. So it's when what we ask for is given to us. Manifesting is easier than ever because the universe hears you as clear as hell, and you are putting off good vibes like crazy. In fact, you are radiating, and you look and feel the most fabulous you possibly can. Seriously. It is something that you will create for yourself, and your vortex looks completely unique. I want to make this clear because I don't think this is talked about enough. Like, I think that people that are talking about the vortex are like, it's sequins and it has butterflies and, you know, like, it looks this one way. Your vortex can look however you want it to look. If your vortex is like goth and has, I don't know, like dinosaurs and diamonds, but the diamonds are coming out of dinosaurs' butts or something weird, like, that's fine. Those are the visuals. Like, you are you, and like, what comes out is, it's the same thing as like doing like a sexy boudoir shoot. Like, if you're not into lingerie and something and combat boots make you feel sexy, like, wear combat boots for your sexy photo shoot. Like, it's the same thing. It doesn't, if sequins doesn't inspire you, don't wear sequins. I just flew a sequins off. Okay, but it's completely unique is my point, and that's very powerful information that I feel like nobody's talking about. Your vortex will look different than my vortex or anyone else's vortex, although there might be overlapping elements and themes, because, like, you know, feeling good can be like that, and especially if you're like talking to someone that is, you know, your friend or you have something in common with. But anyway, okay, manifesting is something that kind of can put a lot of people off, and especially when we were talking about like the book or concept The Secret or the Law of Attraction. But it's more than that. The vortex is so much more than that. It's definitely in the works when you're in the vortex. The law of attraction works better than ever. But the vortex is about making yourself feel really, really good. Really good. And your vortex exists whether or not you've gone to it or whether or not you acknowledge it. And it is where your greatest passions live. It is where your lovers are waiting. It is where your fortune exists and is waiting to be claimed. It is where your dreams are waiting to come true. Anything that you feel is currently missing from your life is inside your vortex, and it is waiting for you to come in and grab it, meet it, touch it, taste it, wear it, feel it, make love to it. You have to be ready to get in the vortex, and you also have to be ready to commit to going back in when you hop out or fall out. Life is real. This is not a lesson in toxic positivity. I am past that shit. Shit is going to happen in your life. You might struggle with a mental and or chronic illness every single day. That shit sucks. You might go through a breakup. You might get fired. Someone close to you might die. Life is fucking hard a lot of the time, and the adversity is not going to stop. Abraham Hicks calls that adversity contrast. Doesn't matter what we call it. We know what we're talking about. The point is, all emotions deserve to be felt and experienced. I am not telling you that you have to feel good all the time. You don't try to stop feeling happy, so we shouldn't try to outrun feeling sad or angry or fearful or whatever it is. We should continue to dive into these emotions and fully embrace and experience them. We are fully formed humans with all types of emotions. What the vortex is here to do is remind you that everything you've ever wanted in your life, everything you've asked the universe for, is because you have wanted to feel good and be happier. That's why you're asking for those things. And the vortex will deliver those results to you. And we'll do it quicker and faster. And ultimately, we all want to live happy lives where we feel good as much as we can. That doesn't mean we're skirting around real shit and being toxically positive. It means we're dealing with our shit, and when we're ready, coming back to the vortex. Or knowing that we can shift our perspective when we need to come back to the vortex. When you are in the vortex, things will flow. Things will seem to work out instead of falling apart. You know those days where it's like, I dropped my coffee, I'm late for work, like everything goes badly? It's the opposite of that in the vortex. It's good thing after good thing after good thing. There is a vibrational flow in the vortex. Remember that when you think about what you don't want, even accidentally, you dwell on it. Even if you're like, I really don't want this thing to happen, and you're trying to think about like how it won't happen, but you keep spiraling, you get super focused on this and thoughts become things. That's super important. So if you're super focused on doing poorly at work and you're worried about it, you might only think about that thing. You might get stressed and anxious and spiral on these thoughts and basically create a self-fulfilling prophecy where you actually perform poorly at work. And maybe that's just because you were up all night thinking about how you're going to perform badly at work. But when you could have used that exact same time thinking about how you were so stressed about it, like to create positive thoughts about how well you will do at work and how confident you are, and to create a plan of action for your work-related projects or any problems or conflicts you were facing at your job. You see, like, it's like we can use the same exact time to think about things that we want to create instead of using that time to create a self-fulfilling prophecy of negativity of the thing that we actually don't want. Like when you say, I can't afford that, it's like it's the lack versus abundance thinking that we're trying to talk about. Like instead of saying I can't afford that, it's saying how can I afford that? So, okay. We're talking about the vortex. You want to know how to get in the vortex. It's different for everyone because everyone's vortex is different and you're all different, unique individuals. But it is first acknowledging it exists, believing you can get there, and then starting to do things that you know will make you feel really good. That might be a guess and test process at first if you're not familiar with things that make you feel good. But again, that's what I've been preparing you for making space with this, with micro movements and magical daily rituals. That's what these can be used for these 5-minute carve out spaces of self-care that can be used for things that make you feel good. Some things that make people feel good pretty universally, like across the board, are doing things like practicing self-care. Remember that, whatever that means to you, diving into your passions and hobbies, or working on your goals, or practicing mindfulness, or learning about yourself, being more introspective, loving who you are and spending time with yourself and actually having fun being in your own company. And the big one that I'm going to talk about today is practicing gratitude. So, gratitude is a huge pillar in the totem pole of self-love. And it needs to be really close to the bottom to hold up this totem pole of self-love, because it needs to be part of that strong-ass foundation. It's the first chapter in my book about self-love. It's the first lesson in my signature course about self-love. It's the first thing I recommend to anyone starting their journey with self-love. And besides cognitive behavioral therapy, it is the number one thing that I attribute to getting me out of my stuck-ass, terrible hole that I was in for years, starting my business and starting my big journey of self-love myself. Gratitude is huge. I have a ton of resources that are already available at your fingertips that I'm not going to bore you with here because you already have them listed out for you. There is already a completely free e-course on gratitude that I will link to you below. That's something you can do this week. There are 2 blog posts. One is how to keep, it says a happy journal. I call it a happy journal. It's the same thing as a gratitude journal, whatever you want to call it. It's how to keep it with all these tips on how to get started, how to keep it going, and then another post of 10 ways to keep it. So it's like how that can manifest, for example. So it doesn't need to be in a journal. It could be kept on a paper chain. It could be through Instagram posts. It could be a vlog. It doesn't matter how you keep it. The point is that you're documenting your gratitude. I will tell you today in this video that it has been scientifically proven that writing down or saying, documenting somehow, at least 3 things that make you happy or you're grateful for, at least for a few weeks' time in a row, significantly improves your mental health and mood. I will also tell you that I am living proof of that, and that I have been keeping a happy journal for 12 years now. I can't believe that. And when I skip days or weeks, my mental health declines significantly. And when I am up on my gratitude practices, my mental health and mood improves significantly. It is aggressively related. I swear by gratitude practices. I even make weekly happiness posts on my blog that you can check out in the happiness category on the archives on uncustomary.org. I also make highlight reels that you can check out, the 100 most recent ones, on my Instagram at uncustomary.love. Your homework assignment for this week's Supersonic Self-Love episode is to start a gratitude practice and list it out. Like, however you want to document it. Check out these resources, the gratitude e-course, the 2 blog posts, and get these stellar tips for getting started, and make sure that you're listing at least 3 things a day. It can be in any format you like. And if you are feeling ambitious, you can also do an exercise that I find to be really helpful to get myself in the headspace of gratitude, which is to make a list of 100 things that I'm grateful for. And I know that sounds really daunting, but once you get in the flow, you'll feel like you can just keep going. It's magical. And you'll be surprised at how easy it is. Just think of things that you might take for granted. Think of things your body does for you. Think of things you've experienced, things in your life right now, places, things, feelings, touches, simple pleasures, etc. This will certainly propel you towards the vortex. I have also come up with an amazing 10-minute vortex meditation. I recommend doing this week. That's also part of your homework. I recommend doing it in the morning because it's amping you up. It's not slowing you down to go to sleep. It is separately uploaded on YouTube, so check it out and allow yourself to wander into the vortex and stay there as long as you can. Remember that I also have a ton of resources that will help you feel really good, including an interactive worksheet on the vortex, playlists, journaling prompts, positive affirmations, inspirational quote collections, gratitude prompts, tapping videos, printable art, and more meditations in the Uncustomary Babes membership group. You can sign up at uncustomary.org/membership or the link below, and it's such a reasonable price. Seriously, you get so much bang for your buck. It is insane. And I will send you a membership card in the mail to your house. So are you ready to become an Uncustomary Babe yet? Come on. Check out the sign-up page and see all the amazing testimonials from current Uncustomary Babes that are waiting for you, just like the Vortex is waiting for you. I can't wait for you to join. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Supersonic Self-Love. I will see you again next Sunday. Have fun being in the Vortex until then.